In what ways does your media product use, develop, or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? When creating my poster, I looked into the typical conventions that are often used. The poster I have created is a main poster, as it would probably be one of the last posters released for the film. My poster uses most of the typical conventions of actual main film posters: a tagline, a main image, the title of the film, a specific release date, and a credit block. I decided to use these conventions in order to keep my poster looking professional and authentic. In order to make sure the poster used similar conventions as a typical horror movie poster, I used a poster for The Town That Dreaded Sundown for inspiration. I liked how that poster was edited together, and I liked how it was mainly about the threatening character. This was something I wanted to incorporate into my poster. Therefore, I had the killer as the main image on my poster in order to emphasize the threat and importance of the character. In a way, this would also help to create iconography, as the killer's mask would be something that audiences remember, in a similar way to the Scream movies. Including the killer across all of my marketing material also made the character a symbol and icon for the film. I also built on the idea of iconography by having my poster feature memorable images from the trailer: the silhouette of the knife, people arguing, and the injured head. This almost connects the poster directly to the trailer, so audiences will be able to know that the poster is for the film that they saw the trailer for, and vice versa. However, my poster does challenge the conventions of actual horror film posters. It is rare that the names of the talent involved are included unless the film has a very big budget with big name talent. For example, Crimson Peak. N2110 is quite a low budget horror film, but I decided to include the names of the talent involved because even though these actors and actresses may not be huge, they would be quite well known and all have their own fan bases, which would bring in each of their audiences. This could be applied to Dyer's star theory. A star is an image, not a real person, that is constructed out of a range of materials. Audiences are more likely to be interested in the film because stars they like feature in it. My poster also develops on the effects model. It features silhouettes of a knife and an injured head. These are images that could be influential to viewers who are not of the appropriate age. Based on the effects model, these images could lead to the consumer carrying out violent activities. Many posters do not feature weapons or graphic injuries in order to avoid this. This shows that I've developed convention, as the items aren't fully being shown to them being silhouettes, but they are still a step up from what would be shown on an actual poster. If this poster was to be displayed on buses or on billboards, it would probably have to be edited. However, I chose to have these violent images on the poster as they help to connote the genre even more and almost put a restriction already on who can see the film. If cinemas aren't willing to display the full poster due to the violence, this could create news stories and publicity, and could suggest to parents that they shouldn't show their children anything about the film. This challenges convention as it almost acts as an indirect marketing device. The film would get media attention due to posters being refused to be displayed in public areas, which would therefore create awareness about the film. This could be related to when films have been banned in certain countries and people have been more interested. For example, The Interview, which had a lot of controversy over it and its cinema release in America. That led to people being a lot more interested, and then Deadpool, which was banned in China, and that led to people being interested as well. So this kind of works in the same wavelength, as people would be interested to know why this poster and why parts of this film aren't being allowed to be shown to the general public. Even though the trailer has a very film noir style, the poster challenges conventions of typical film noir posters in some areas. Film noir posters are generally quite bright and my poster is much darker. I made this decision as films that are film noir aren't really created today, so to appeal to today's audiences and horror fans, the poster should be of a similar style to modern horror films, such as The Town That Dreaded Sundown. If I had have made my poster very film noir, I could attract the wrong audience who are cult fans of this type of style. The film would have become much more niche. I have challenged film noir posters, but then used horror film poster conventions by using typical colours in the horror genre, such as red and black. I use this convention also by making the colour scheme of my poster red and black. This means that the poster uses colours that have connotations of the horror genre. Red connotes danger and blood, and black connotes mystery and darkness. The poster challenges ideas put forward by Laura Mulvey that women are sexualised and victims. Even though there is an injured head on my poster, the gender of the person cannot be identified. This means that no gender can be seen as a victim unless the consumer has watched the trailer. My trailer challenges the conventions of trailers that have been set by Todorov's narrative theory. Right from the start of the trailer, a state of equilibrium is not defined, which is usually the first stage. My trailer starts off with a disruption, which means that stage 1 is skipped and ignored. I chose to do this as a way of capturing the audience's attention right from the start. They will want to know why the girl has been killed and who is killing her. A sense of intrigue will be created. The trailer kind of follows stage 3 of the theory, recognising problems and sets goals to fix them. The school characters all receive a note which is then recognising something has gone wrong, but they do nothing to set goals to fix the issue. However, the policeman asking people for information could be seen as a way to fix the issue. My trailer loosely fits into stage 3. It doesn't really challenge the convention, but it doesn't directly use it either. My trailer also loosely fits into stage 4, fixing problems with obstacles. The fast sequence in our trailer could fit into stage 4. This is because the characters can be seen being dragged downstairs and arguing, which could be inferred that the characters are fighting off the killer and arguing about ways to fix the problem. However, this is such a loose suggestion that I would say the trailer challenges stage 4 of Todorov's theory. The characters are never seen actually fixing the problem. As the trailer goes on, the problem almost seems to get worse and worse. We decided to do this because we didn't want to diffuse the tension that we were building by showing characters figuring it out. We also didn't want to spoil the mystery about who the killer was, as that could potentially be a big talking point about the film. Overall, I would say that our trailer does use and abide by some of the stages in Todorov's narrative theory, but it mostly challenges it. This is because our trailer features no state of equilibrium at all, and instead of the characters trying to fix the problem just gets worse as the trailer goes on. The trailer does, however, fit with convention by not including stage 5 of Todorov's theory. Stage 5 isn't usually appropriate for trailers, as the ending is rarely given away in a trailer. Our trailer also challenges the convention of narrative in general. The trailer doesn't have an extremely clear and precise narrative, which helps to create intrigue and mystery. This all fits in nicely with the character of the killer. The audience for this trailer will almost feel just like the characters. They don't know who the killer is, what his motives are, and what he actually is doing. The mystery element is reflected with both the characters and the audience. Even though my trailer may challenge conventions with the way it goes about its narrative, I still use many conventions of film trailers. When researching for my trailer, I analysed and looked into numerous trailers that ended up acting as inspiration for the final trailer. The biggest inspiration was the trailer for Regression. We liked the pacing of the trailer and how it made the most of the fast edited sequence by using ticking sounds. We also liked how the trailer was from the point of view of the police. As you can see from our trailer, we have also featured a fast-paced ticking sequence at the end of our trailer for effect and have scenes that feature the police.
Quit praying and give me names!
I just don't remember.
This shows that we use conventions of real-life film trailers for effect and to help build tension. We developed this convention from the Regression trailer and used the convention of including a popular song for the fast-paced sequence. This can be seen in trailers such as Dracula Untold and The Gallows. We chose a song by Lana Del Rey as she has quite an eerie voice, but the song was still quite dramatic and created the effect we wanted it to. This would be especially effective with a knowing audience who are aware of Lana Del Rey's music, so may psychologically like the trailer more and be interested in seeing the film as a song by an artist they like is used. Another trailer that we used as inspiration was Star Wars The Force Awakens. We liked how the trailer began with ding sounds and how each ding was a different scene. We developed on this by having each ding of the church bell being a different moment but in the same night of our trailer.
Who are you?
I'm no one.
This helped to make sure the narrative of that moment flowed well and to create suspense and intrigue. This showed we used conventions from a real trailer but also developed that convention by making it our own and using it in a slightly different way. Another film we used for inspiration was Sin City. We liked how the film was in black and white and only some things coloured. We have this style in some moments in our trailer. At the beginning, everything is black and white except for the things that are red. This shows us using conventions that other films have used. Our trailer has a film noir style to it. This wasn't intentional at first, but as we began editing our footage, it seemed that we were going down a film noir route. Even though our trailer does include many film noir elements that are typical to the style, we have challenged the conventions of film noir as well. This was mainly so we could still appeal to a teen audience. They expect horror films to have jump scares and be really scary, whereas film noir traditionally includes jazz music and sexualised females. We decided not to include jazz music or femme fatales in order to appeal to a teen audience and therefore challenging conventions of the film noir style. Our trailer does include many film noir qualities such as extreme close-ups, faces obscured through objects, black and white moments, everyday urban scenes, a whodunit plot, detectives as characters, the story being told in flashbacks, as well as murder being a key theme. This shows that we have all in all developed the film noir style in order to make it more appealing. We use some of the classic features but challenge others. We also developed conventions set by Hitchcock, which can easily be identified by our target audience. We did this by including a few moments with shadows. We did this for effect, and it may lead to an association between End 2110 and Hitchcock, which could bring in fans who loved horror in the past and feel it has lost its originality and style over the years. We did a lot of research into the horror genre and found out what the typical conventions are. Horror film trailers often include tense music, which is something we have used to set a tone within the trailer. Horror films often have a teenage cast, such as the ones in Ouija and Unfriended, or families. We decided to use teenage friends as our main characters, which shows that we have used this convention. Horror films often have the ability to manipulate audiences through the mood-building gore and scary moments. We have tried to do this subtly in our trailer with some elements of gore and through the music. If the fast ticking sequence was edited to different music, it probably wouldn't feel as tense as it does at the moment. In modern day horror films, a key feature are supernatural elements. However, our trailer challenges convention by using a human character as the villain and the scare factor. This is rare for horror films these days, but it also helps to make the film seem a little bit more realistic and grittier, which is another feature of film noir. Common features of horrors are deaths, dark lighting, jump scares and gore. We use most of these conventions in our trailer. The deaths are at the beginning and end, dark lighting is throughout. We use dark filters to make this even more prominent. We have a jump scare at the end, and we have gore at the beginning and with the bloody hands. It is extremely important when making a horror film to use these typical conventions, as they are what modern day audiences have come to expect from the genre. If you want audiences to pay to see your film, you have to include the conventions. Critically acclaimed horrors It Follows, The Babadook and The Witch have had weaker box office numbers and mixed word of mouth from the public, as they go against conventions by having less jump scares and being much more subtle. End 2110 could easily fall into this category, so to make audiences want to see the film, we thought it was important to abide by conventions of the genre by using some features like jump scares. Other than following a film noir style, another reason for why the trailer may challenge horror conventions is that it could also be classed as a thriller due to not using as many conventions as typical horrors. This means we have challenged conventions of horror, mainly with the scare factor, masked killer versus supernatural, and have created a thriller-horror hybrid trailer. With trailers in general, we abided by conventions in order to make the trailer seem professional and authentic. The trailer begins with a card at the beginning which gives a brief description about the trailer and what it would be rated. This is an American convention, but the UK does not have another version of this. We thought we would use the US card, as our trailer would be available to all territories and our film would hopefully be distributed worldwide. We made the trailer a red band trailer, as it features gore and themes of death which are not usually shown in a trailer that can be shown to everyone. If our trailer was real, YouTube would only make it available to users over the age of 18, which means the effect model is less likely to come into play with underage viewers, as they do not have access to it. The trailer also includes the name of the film at the end and includes a credit block and a release date at the end. We didn't challenge any conventions when it comes to the trailer as a whole in order to make it seem as realistic as possible. Throughout the trailer we have also used unique features such as a split screen and transitions between a police board and CCTV footage that challenges conventions, as they aren't normally seen in horror trailers. Our trailer includes many female characters. It is believed by theorists like Laura Mulvey that women in films are often sexualised and victimised. Our trailer doesn't sexualise women at all, as their outfits and appearances are not heavily made up or revealing. However, the trailer may be seen to victimise female characters, as the only characters in fear in the trailer are females. This supports the convention that Mulvey and others believe exist, that women are usually the weaker characters. The male characters in our trailer do not seem scared and aren't put in harm's way. However, the killer could be any gender, which almost challenges the beliefs of Mulvey, as a woman could secretly be the one who is the most powerful. Although through costume choices and body shape it could be suggested that the killer figure is a male, which supports the idea that males take on a guise to conform to masculine traits. Males are stereotypically seen as more violent, so the killer is putting on a mask and becoming anonymous in order to conform to masculinity. Mulvey also believes that female characters in films are often not there for the sake of the narrative, but for the pleasure of men. Our trailer challenges this convention as the female characters are the main characters and are important to the plot. Our trailer also abides by and challenges conventions set by both the uses and gratifications theory. There are numerous ways for why audiences may feel satisfied from watching our trailer and film. Diversion and escapism are probably the most likely reasons for why audiences would use our trailer. Audiences would also be satisfied by our trailer as they would be able to relate to the characters and their lifestyles. Our audience would be a teen audience and our characters are of a similar age. The audience would relate to the school lifestyle and the types of dramas that occur at school. However, our plot is quite extreme, so audiences wouldn't be able to compare themselves and may feel thankful that their drama isn't as bad. The film is set in quite a realistic modern environment, which makes it even more relatable and creates a diversion for the audience. The whole plot creates a sense of escapism as the audience can escape from their day-to-day lives and go into a world that is probably much worse than theirs. This shows that we have abided by conventions in knowing that we are ultimately making the trailer to satisfy an audience, and it had to use typical conventions to please them, but also challenge and develop conventions in order to create something new and original that they would think is worth paying to see. There are qualities about my magazine that use, challenge and develop conventions of real film magazines. In order to make my magazine seem as professional and authentic as possible, I made sure to include all of the typical conventions that Empire magazine uses. My biggest inspiration was the July 2015 Ant-Man issue. I liked how there was a central image surrounded by cell lines that were simply the names of films. I used this convention by including a main central image of the killer and including names of upcoming thrillers around him. I downloaded the font Muro, which I found from research was one that Empire used. I did this to enhance how realistic the magazine cover felt. Empire magazine is generally quite a conventional magazine. They have the typical features like mastheads, cell lines, images, etc. However, the issue I created did have cell lines, but they developed convention as they didn't really hint anything about the story and only named the film. This meant that they don't seem like your typical cover lines. The layout for my magazine was also quite unconventional and it wasn't very clear. Empire often have recently started to have quite a clear and simple layout, but this cover was quite crowded and isn't the style that Empire would produce on a monthly basis. As a whole though, I generally use this typical convention of film magazines. Another way I've developed on convention with the style is by featuring a caption under the main headline. If Empire are doing a cover that has an image surrounded by names of films, they usually only have the name of the cover film enlarged. However, I have also done this, but I have a caption underneath my headline. This caption creates mystery and intrigue about the film as it talks about the theories behind the film. The main image is once again of the killer, who it is implied is a male. This relates back to the tough guys once again, and that males conform to masculinity if they have a guise. This abides by typical male stereotypes in films. A male seems much more powerful than the female characters. Also, as the male character is featured as the cover star, it could suggest that he has more importance than any of the other female characters. The biggest way my magazine challenges the conventions of Empire magazine is that they do not usually feature horrors, usually as articles or their cover story. They have featured Gone Girl as their cover film in the past, but that was a one-off. This does suggest though that Empire are willing to venture into different genres, which makes me believe that me challenging the conventions here is suitable. I decided to make the issue a thriller special, spotlighting all of the upcoming thriller films of October 2016 and onwards. October 2016 would be a good time for Empire to do a thriller special due to Halloween, so it all works even though they may not actually ever produce one. This challenges convention as it goes against what the magazine usually produces. Empire covers all of the big blockbusters, usually comic book adaptations, and N2110 is not a big budget blockbuster. However, the fact that Empire decided to feature a low-budget thriller would probably cause attention and publicity as it is something different. I decided to go with Empire rather than smaller niche magazines, as Empire would give the film good publicity and coverage. The magazine has a high readership, so lots of people would be aware of the film. This would increase the chance of N2110, a smaller and niche film, becoming more commercially successful. A way that my magazine has developed conventions is by using the idea of the special, but making it to a genre that the magazine wouldn't usually spotlight. In the past, Empire has done superhero specials and Oscar previews, so it is a style that they often do, but I have developed convention by adding a genre that they have never done before, thriller. So those are the ways my media products challenge, use and develop conventions.